Oh, hey.
Do you like this fancy screen I made for you?
Oh, I love it. I
Does
love
it
it.
read properly?
Yeah, I feel like I'm sitting in your living room right now.
That'd be sweet if this is what I watched in my living room.
Every day.
It just always has your name on it.
Yeah, every day.
How are
Bring
you,
it
my
on.
friend?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, of course, man. It's a pleasure, dude. It's an honor. You know
Yes.
what
Yeah.
is going on? What is going on out there right now? What's the weather like?
It was snowing. On my way back to the shop right now. It's snowing. But it's 37 and snowing. The snow's starting to melt. We're trying to make spring out here in Michigan, so
Yeah, you guys
it's
got to really force that, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like it
you
was
got to like
50 degrees on Monday or Tuesday this week. So, and
how,
now it's
how
back to snowing.
how involved do you have to get with the government and the weather machine to get spring going in Michigan?
You know, pretty involved. I think we're all involved these days. My, I pay my taxes just like you.
Oh, I wouldn't say that about me. I'm trying to start like a church or something real soon here.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Once I saw they were using my taxes for shit I don't want them to use them for, I try to find ways to not pay them. Probably
Yeah.
shouldn't say that out loud.
Nah, we're live.
Yeah.
It's not the internet.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom's watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So how many bikes have you been working on for Daytona besides your own personal one?
um, well, mainly my personal one, two other ones. One's not gonna go now. But I kind of had to collaborate with the local Harley dealership just because my time schedule at the shop's been pretty busy.
Yeah.
We've got a 2021 Lowrider S that we use as a test bike, and I ripped the turbo. It was turbocharged all
Yep.
for the last year. I smoked that engine riding out to Sturgis, and so it was stock 114 with a turbo kit. I ripped that out and we put a 128 kit in it from Zippers
Yep.
and did a fuel moto 2-1 stainless on it, and it runs pretty good. I mean, I've got a few test miles on it, but we just got the bike back last week. So
Gotcha.
I'm planning on riding that one a little bit in Daytona and getting some break-in miles, but so far it's putting out some torque, Not the fastest thing I've rode, but just for a street test bike, it works great.
So I guess a big overall question for you. I mean, where did you come from and what do you do?
My parents, my parents, they're my creators.
Yeah, my creators. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Because you seem to be the guy who can do fucking everything.
I try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess background story a little bit. I've worked for Baker Drivetrain since 2001. I
Oh
was still
wow.
in high school.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
I was swept the floors, built boxes. We used to ship transmissions in wooden crates,
Hell
and
yeah.
I was the guy that built the wooden crates and swept the
Yeah.
floors that night. And I did it like, I call it like work release, like you're in prison, but like that program when you're in school, you can have a couple hours to get out of school and go work instead of being
Yep.
in school. And I came and did this. So uh, they were pretty local to me. They're 4 miles from my parents' house, and
Yep.
it worked out well. They used to be in a building next to my mom where she worked, and she's like, "You need a job. Go talk to these people." And that was 24 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Wow. You've been there ever since. You never left. Nothing.
I did leave for a little while.
Okay.
Maybe like a year and a half or so, but I would still go to Sturgis with the crew. I'd go to Daytona. I
Yep.
would I would still come back and do test rides,
Gotcha.
kind of as like an outside, like a
Yep.
consultant, I guess you could say. Do
Yep.
test rides and engineering evaluation for the company, and
Gotcha.
then that kind of kept ramping up while I was on my little hiatus. I was living in an RV, touring
Yeah.
around. Yeah, like so when I took my little hiatus, I bought an RV. I moved out to Brian at TPJ's compound. He used to like live on this middle of this vineyard, and I posted up my RV in the back, and I'd ride dirt bikes and ride motorcycles, and that's all I did. And I would just work here and there when I
Yep.
when I wanted a little bit of extra money, but the main focus was riding motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did
That's
that for a
cool.
while, but like I said, I'd still come back here and do some things, for a couple weeks at a time. My
Yep. Yep.
family's from Michigan, so I would, I like spending summers here, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
ended up coming back full time, and I think I came back in maybe 2018 or 2017, somewhere around there.
Right on. And you just went right back into the swing of things. So
Yeah,
basically, your skill set of jack of everything is all learned from that one facility.
yeah, I've learned a lot from Bert, the owner, and Lisa, the owners. I've learned so much, and just tried to soak it all in. And
Yeah.
I wasn't, as a kid, I liked to tinker with stuff, but I wasn't, I rode bicycles and
Yeah. Yeah.
skateboard
Yeah.
like every punk kid does, right? So
Yep.
it's fun, and it's like something, this motorcycles is a good outlet. And if you can work with motorcycles, you're not really working.
No. 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 No.
We're
It
all
really
having
ruins you.
fun.
It really ruins you, man. It's
Yeah,
like I look at these guys like doing construction and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, no, not for me. You
yeah.
know, can't go
I
back to
love being
that kind of shit.
outside,
Yeah.
but not not like that.
No, not like that. Yeah, I want the choice to be outside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I wasn't expecting that as your answer, though. I honestly, I thought maybe you had some sort of engineering background or something like that. You
No, I
know?
went to, I mean, so to back up a little bit, I did some like architecture drawings, like classes in high school.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I like drawing and, using CAD and stuff like that. And so that was kind of a front, you know, to this. And I was
Yep.
working with Burton one night. I just, I don't think I had worked here very long, and I went into his office and I was like, hey, like we had hired a lot of people, like we were growing pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
So I walked into his office, one late night, and I was like, hey, um, you're the engineer here now, but at the rate we're growing, you have to manage people, and you're not, we're going to need more people to do that. What do you think about having another engineer? And he was like who? And I was like, well, I like to draw and do that kind of stuff. So that's how I learned. I mean, my first design project here was in '02, like summer, fall of '02. And it was our redundant neutral for our shift drum assemblies. And we've used that ever since on all of our products.
That's crazy.
So
So I mean, you were still in high school then when you asked to become to start designing products for them.
yeah, yeah. And then
Wow.
from there, I went to the local community college here in Lansing, and I did drafting classes and CAD classes and machining classes to try and get, well rounded in all of those things, and got a degree just in, applied science and just
Yeah.
in CAD. And so
Yeah.
I've been rocking along with that.
The hell did my TV just do? Shut up.
I did that.
Oh, yeah, it's like talking to me, bro. Fucking AI, dude. You gotta be careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Careful. I should probably take it off the internet while we're doing
Everybody's listening. Mikey's
it.
listening.
Yeah. Now that's crazy, man. And so that time that you started there was during all the fat tire chopper fucking craziness, fucking
Oh yeah. That's
insane, giant everything.
yeah, right side drives. Bert had
Yep.
just come out with the right side drive when I started here, and he was working on um like a Rolling Thunder frame, Pro Street looking 250 wide rear tire with the
Yep.
right side drive, had Perowitz paint it. It was a cool, and it was on our calendar, I believe, in '02. And that bike's actually still around this area, riding
That's
around.
awesome. Yeah,
So
that's a trip, man. I would have. I mean, I would have never. I would have never assumed you had been there that long. I would have, we've never really spoken about your history there, but
yeah,
it's a pretty fucking crazy story.
yeah. I mean, before that, I mean, I've worked since I was really probably about 14. I worked at a Christmas tree farm before this, and
That's where you.
well, I did. You know, you learn a lot on the farm. You
Oh,
know,
you do.
it might be
You
hillbilly
do.
stuff, but everything can get done. And then after
Yup.
that, I worked for Michigan State University. I worked in at their art museum,
Oh,
and I
wow.
was on a team of there was 5 or 6 of us, and we restored a train car that's up in northern Michigan at a museum. And we had to do
No
everything
shit.
by hand, like woodwork, and get this thing all restored. So that was my project before this, but it was a state funded project that they were paying the university to do. And as soon as that money ran out, they had me painting walls and like curating, and I was like, this ain't for me. And that's
Yeah.
when I ended up at Baker, because I knew I
Wow.
needed a new job.
Yep, yep. And it's all. I mean, and your love and passion just all comes from tinkering on bicycles into this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy,
when
man.
when Bert interviewed me, I he was like, "What do you know about gear ratios?" And I was like, "Well, I know if like on my mountain bike, if I put the big sprocket up front and the little one in the rear, I'm going fast and it's hard to push." He's like, "All right, cool. You know what you're talking about."
Yeah,
I
that's
was
all
just
you
a
need to
kid.
know.
I was
Yeah, yeah.
17, so
Oh yeah, yeah. If you know the basics, you can be taught the rest.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What do you guys got going on at Baker? A lot of cool stuff coming out. I see you guys have been kind of releasing a lot of neat shit here, in the last
Yeah,
couple of years.
we've re-released a few of our products that we had taken away, and I had done some redesigns on them, and we've got a couple new products coming out soon.
Yeah.
I've been doing some prototype testing on some new stuff. Can't really say too much about that, but you know
Hoverboards?
what's that?
Hoverboards, I hope.
Yeah, like teleportation devices.
There we go.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
yeah,
great.
we've been doing that. We've been, you asked about bikes. I've been doing my FXR. I did that 21 Softail. I've got a twin cam race bike that we run. That's a turbocharged 117 Road King. Um, it's 300 horse, runs on methanol.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And then I'm working on right now. I mean, it will be done later this year, but doing a kind of a similar version of that, but in an M8. Uh,
Yeah.
2 years ago, we had done an M8 in that kind of similar fashion, low and stretched out for the pro bagger class in the AMRA.
Yup.
And we had it pro charged, and, we were building power. It was fast, but I munched a lot of engines that year. So we kind of took a year off from running the M8 and
Yeah.
kind of regrouped, and we're getting back into it now.
Now is the M8 is it not as strong as a platform for that real big horsepower like that? Is that why you munch a bunch, or what is the
Kind
difference?
kind of at the time, and I mean,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot too.
Yep.
I built engines, but I wouldn't call myself an engine builder by any means.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
rely a lot of our industry peers for information, and
Yep.
um, the M8. I went through a lot of cases. We broke a lot of M8 engine
Gotcha.
cases, and SNS has released cases now, so we're pretty
Yep.
confident we're not gonna run into the same issues.
Yeah. 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 Did they? I haven't seen those cases yet. Did they basically do a direct replacement, or did they actually look at the weaknesses of the case, the factory case, and make it stronger?
No, they definitely made it a lot stronger. Left
Uh,
side, the left side bearing area was pretty weak on the OE cases, and
yep.
they've done a lot to that. They've done a lot on the right side too, and
Yeah.
made a lot of changes. And it's a nice heavy duty case. They've updated the piston oilers, and it's a solid deal. And
Yeah.
we're excited to get ours together and start making some laps on the track.
Gotcha. Yeah. I guess because the twin cam was around for so long too, huh? Because the SNS has had a twin cam case for quite a while.
Yeah,
So
exactly. They did. And the twin cam case itself, on the twin cam race bike we're running, we have SNS cases in that as well.
yeah.
That's SNS cases, ductile iron, Axtel cylinders, all the heavy duty stuff that's good for racing. Not always applicable on the street, but
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. Is there going to be a drag race at Sturgis this year?
At this point, we are not putting one on. There was politics, you
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
that we couldn't really come to an agreement at the time with the new either owner or leasee, whatever he is, and
Gotcha.
we plan on bringing him back
Yep.
probably next year.
Gotcha.
So this will kind of be our year off, but when we bring him back, it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was gonna. I'm planning on riding out again this year, but I was gonna coordinate my ride to go along with the drag races.
Yeah,
You
it's a
know.
good time. It's a
Oh,
good time.
it's the best time I have in Sturgis. And
Yeah,
literally, you just got to go to the one spot. You see everybody you know, and you can leave the next day. You don't got to hang around anymore. You
yeah,
know. So that was my favorite thing. When we went out last 2 years ago. Well, this will
yeah,
be 2 years this year. But
yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. So how long did it take you to put this bike together? It kind of seemed like you weren't. It seemed like a fast project from what I could tell, but I don't know
Yeah,
how long you start. I don't know when you started it.
so I bought the bike, typical find a bike on Facebook Marketplace. It's a 82 FXRS. I had watched it on Marketplace for a while and it wasn't selling. Well, come to find out the guy, he was pretty passionate about this bike. It was kind of like his first, Harley that not his first one, but like he had originally
Yep.
had a 82 FXRS shovel head, and so he got this bike, and he just kept having issues with the shovel head engine. I bought it as a roller. He had ended up selling the shovel head engine for it. So, but I bought it last March, the end of March.
Yep.
I was just gonna. I've called it all along the budget build, but there is no budget really.
Yeah.
It it's been I didn't want to rush it. When I got the bike back here, Bert was gracious enough to let me work on it at the shop. It is my bike, but
Yep.
I've been working on it at the shop, which helps because we got all these CNC machines. I can make whatever I want.
Yeah.
The bike itself, I pulled up the seat and I was like, oh, there's a little rust right here. I should probably pull that down and throw in, powder coat the frame. And then I
Yep.
ended up scrapping everything except for the frame, the kickstand, and like two other parts. I mean, there's nothing left of the original bike. I have that all in totes in my storage unit right now. So I got new tins because it wasn't a center fill tank, and I wanted a
Yep.
center fill tank, and yeah. So I bought painted tins. They were already painted from Dave Bridgewater, and
Yep.
he, the rear was in bad shape. I had my buddy repaint the rear for me, and I just like the scheme. I mean, you can kind of see it. It's
Yeah.
white and blue.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've really showed it to the world. I've been
Yeah.
not
You just
even
finished
really
it
talking.
yesterday, right?
I just finished it last night. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you sent me that video of it running. I mean,
Yeah.
that was. I'm assuming the first video of it kind of fired up and running.
Yes. And
Yeah.
original plan was to have it done for Sturgis last year, but there's just no feasible way for me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
With getting parts, waiting for parts. But it's really come along. It's yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want me to go through the build
That's
but
what we're here for, my man.
yeah. I mean, so the front. We'll just start from the front, I guess.
Yeah, and if you need to take the phone with you, you can. We can get close-ups or whatever you want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. So the front end on this is
And if you
it's
need to flip the camera around, you can always flip the camera around too. Whatever you want to do to show it the best
fancy
way.
stuff. Okay, here we go.
Go.
So front end here, tubes, Pro One trees.
Yup.
So I've got Iconia, Steve. He does
Oh
these
yeah.
nice little fork guards.
Those things are so fucking sexy, dude.
I saw him and I just had to have him. He had Boyd Motor Co. Ryan Boyd machine these up, and
Yup.
you didn't need no polish needed.
Oh yeah.
So Chip at San Diego Customs, I've talked to him quite a bit.
Yep.
He talked me into these Pro One tubes, and then we did Olin's cartridges, and then Chip did the 2-inch extension on it.
Yep.
So it's kind of 2 inches up. Uh, Iacona caliper mounts with Brembo brakes.
Yep.
I kind of come from the sport bike world. I've not maybe the world. I used to always ride sport bikes. I was like, Harleys are loud and slow. Who wants to do that? Like, give me a fast bike. So
Yeah.
I rode a lot of sport bikes. So I like to stop. Um, these are RC components, forged lightweight wheels,
Yep.
and matching rotors with those. So part of the thing with the build was I wanted to support the industry that supported me for the last 20 plus years. So I
Yep.
wanted to use RC components. I remember going to the Cincinnati V Twin Expo. I remember going to Daytona and having beers with these guys way back in the day. So it's,
Yep.
support those who have always supported, you.
100%.
The light assembly, I did a Baja Designs, and I kept the stock
I see it.
nacelle on it.
Yep.
So moving back a little bit, Joker machine, throttle assembly, the ODI Vans grips. These bars I had Jacob Conard do, and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
they're stainless, and he made them to my dimensions, which I'm not super tall, and I didn't want them way up in the air. So these
Yeah.
are 10 inches from the top tree to the top of the bar.
Yeah. Perfect.
HD 11/16 bore master, and
Yep.
then just a matching HD, just standard setup on the clutch.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, so stock tank nacelle center and fill.
That paint sure is cool.
Yeah, and it's like my buddy that repainted the rear fender. He's like, this is 3 or 4 paint jobs old. It's been painted over a few times, but
Yeah. It
it's
sure is cool though. I like that. I like that weird silhouette they did it kind of like on the bottom of the eagle.
yeah, going around here.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I ain't never
Yeah,
seen that.
the tanks.
Did David have that on a bike before?
I don't think so. I looked through some pictures, and I'm not an FXR guru by any means.
Yeah, me neither.
Um, down to the engine, S&S V111 with a E carb on it.
Yeah.
And then, when I did the tubes from Chip, when he set those up for me, I like his mini boards.
Oh yeah.
So did those OEM mid controls. Mikey from Nine Finger hooked me up with those because I had to have those.
Mikey's the
I
best.
wanted to keep some things Harley. I want to keep it, like the bike.
Factory custom.
And I
Yep.
just keep it true to Harley. I don't need some radical custom. That's not what I was going for. I wanted to keep
Yeah.
it true to Harley, but also support our industry.
Yep.
So that's what a lot of it is.
Yep.
This is new. This is the first one and the only one. So this is a mid control.
Only one.
Yeah, we will be making these.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them on the machine soon, but this is the only one for mid controls, and we'll be releasing one for the standard non mid control cable angle too.
Gotcha.
Of course, I had to do a Baker in it.
Oh yeah.
That transmission, though, I mean, since I work here, I built that transmission out of just parts laying around. I mean, some of those gears in there are 20 plus years old, and they're just things that, not something you could use for a customer, but something that I knew I could make work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of part of it, and it's set up different than most. The ratios I picked, and then also
I never thought about that. That's got to be pretty interesting, huh? With the knowledge you have and the access you have, you can set up whatever gear ratios you want.
Yeah, and we don't really make a lot of the optional ratios anymore. It's more based on sales, and a lot of customers don't need that kind of stuff, so we don't do all of that anymore. But I found some stuff that I could do.
Yep.
So That's what I did to the transmission. You'll notice too, no neutral switch on
Yep.
here at all,
Yep.
so it doesn't even have the provision. The shift pattern in it is a N1, so
Yep.
neutral is on the bottom, and then the rest of the gears are up.
Yep.
I had these are TPJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, he make these. These are TPJ FXR division setup.
Yep. The power couple.
Yeah. Bassani high output stainless 2-into-1. And then the swing arm, is a billet setup from TPJ as well. And then Iacona rear caliper mount. And yeah, the clutch stock, I actually, I don't want to say it's a stock clutch. I took 3 different old Harley clutches and took them all apart. I milled a lot of pieces and just kind of made my own.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
standard.
Lerg clutch.
Yeah, it's kind of my own deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Perfect.
like nothing crazy fancy with the primary FXR division covers. Their mid control mount, and I did their stainless shift lever.
Yep. Yep.
And then the linkage is alloy art. Top engine mount
Yep.
is a billet alloy art one as well. And then I ran their lower engine mount, but
Yep.
I ran factory bushing on the bottom.
Factory rubber bushing. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yep.
Little softer.
Yep. Pingle, petcock, for flow, the built-in
Oh yeah.
filter style.
Yep.
And yeah, I'd like to say it's just kind of a simple build with,
With cool
homage
shit.
homage to our industry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should rip pretty good with the ratios I decided to put in there and the secondary ratio that I did. Everything should work out pretty well.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
I
mean,
test rode it the other night when it wasn't finished, and I might have been a little, like a little excited about the gearing. Might have made it a little short, but it'll burn the tire and it will do some wheelies. So
oh yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
yeah.
Did you do the wiring or did you use factory wiring?
I did. Oh yeah. So I put one of those. I think it's M unit or
Yep.
Moto Gadgets
Photo
unit.
Gadget M unit. Yep.
I'm not a wiring guy. That was probably the biggest headache for me.
Yeah.
But it went well. They've got a pretty good laid out wiring diagram, and
Yeah.
you just kind of take your time. I mean, I could rip all that out of there and do it again and be a
Yeah.
lot happier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it turned out nice. I mean, you don't really see the wires. I guess another kind of trick thing I did here. Um, you know, typically you'd have your feed lines and output lines on the for your oil pump.
Yep.
So what I did, and you can see them kind of down there.
Yep. Yep.
And notice there's no. I don't know if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, so no clamps on the oil lines. I use Parker 3/8 push lock lines.
Uh huh.
So you don't need to run clamps on there because I just wanted to not run clutter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then those are only set up for 1/4 inch NPT and the engine's 1/8 inch NPT. So I CNC turned them down and threaded them down to 1/8 inch NPT so that they would all work perfectly in there, without. So you can just to clean it up, keep it clean and simple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool. With the M unit here, I made a mistake on my FXR, and I just learned about it, probably a year ago, and I haven't fixed it yet. But I did the M unit on that black FXR that I have, and you know what I didn't do is I didn't use a starter relay. And then when the fucking, I'd sit there and crank it, it would like 3 good crank sessions would kill the battery like crazy.
That's interesting because I did not either because it should work as the relay itself.
The other thing I did though, and this is maybe the kicker, is I used like one of those big fancy high output starters, and which I know now is not fucking necessary.
Yeah, I don't have a big high output starter. I ran just the 1.4 kW from All Balls.
Yep.
The starter, I don't have issues with it. I did have to swap batteries. I had bought a Harley lithium for it, and I bought one that was set up for a Sportster because the dealership had it. I
Yep.
had to, I had to have lithium, trying to save weight on this old girl,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I did that, and it would roll over really slow. Like it just every time you'd start it, it would just want to roll over slow until the battery got warmed up, and then it
Yep.
was firing quick. I
Gotcha.
actually just swapped the battery out after work today, and I put a big anti-gravity in there from one of the race bikes, and it
Yeah.
starts right up now.
Gotcha. Did you and how did you hook up? And this is my other thing, and I guess need time. I'm getting ready to put that bike on the lift and play with it.
Yeah,
Otto from Biltwell was over here. And I couldn't even get the damn thing to start, and I had to ride a different bike for a video we did. But I I I wired in my automatic compression releases to my starter button. So essentially, when I push the starter button, that
yep,
should start the starter and release at the same time.
yep.
Is that how you did the same kind of wiring setup?
I did that too. So the starter button through that M unit is on ground, so it works ground setup. And what I did is I ran the power lead to directly to the starter. So I call it the tickler wire. So the
Yep.
ones that gauge it. So I have those. So it's basically three wires running in because the M unit runs two out
Yep.
for the starter.
Yep.
Um, so those three are all wired together. It seems to be working. I went through. That's how S&S recommends to wire them. So I don't I don't feel like I messed that up and the bike starts. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fought that battery and I was worried that the compression releases weren't working because of the battery, but it just turns out, I mean, as soon as I put that other battery in tonight, you could barely even hit the starter button before it fired right up. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's very interesting. I've always, for some reason, that bikes I have always kind of had like a rough time starting. And like I said, I wasn't sure if it was a starter relay or the starter. Now
yeah,
I'm more. After this conversation, I think it's the starter. But yeah, it would just a couple fucking starting sessions, and it just no bueno. And I've played with the jetting, and I've done all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big motor guy, or don't have like that crazy amount of knowledge for motors, So
yeah,
I play with things, but I have played with the jetting and all that stuff. And one day I had that bike just firing right up, boom, boom, and then when it would get cold, man, it's a whole nother story.
yeah,
She's a bitch when she's cold for sure.
yeah. Well, I don't know how this is going to do because it's been in a heated shop its whole
Y-
life.
Yeah,
At
right.
least since my ownership. So I don't know. We'll see. I leave first thing tomorrow morning and hauling it down to Florida,
Oh, but
and
you're going right to the Sunshine State, brother. You're good.
yeah, so it should
She's
be
gonna,
good down there.
yeah, you're gonna look at it. She's gonna start.
Yeah, I will say I was a little. I haven't done a carbureted bike in over 10 years now.
Yeah, yeah,
All the race bikes we run are fuel injected. Our M8 was running a fuel tech system, which is a lot of race cars use. The
yep,
twin cam runs on max ECU. So I've been getting very used to just opening up the laptop, looking at numbers, and
yeah.
carburetors they're a cool thing. Some people think they're weird science, but you can get them to dial in and you can make power with the carburetor.
You definitely can. I mean, I started in carburetors. Not again. I'm not a big motor guy or anything, but my first bike, which I've said before, was a '69 Ironhead, and I
Yeah,
adapted like a CV carburetor to it and stuff, and had to learn a lot about that then, because they were set up for 80-inch Evos or Sportsters or whatever, So
yeah,
there was a lot to learn on the jetting side of things and everything. But once you kind of went through and played a whole bunch, and that bike, that was a kick only bike, but it didn't matter hot or cold, one kick that bike would start no matter what. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it was that was cool. I mean, I've had a little bit. I do like EFI a whole lot because I've never had any issues with EFI. You know what I mean? And I'm sure when you get to the point where you're having issues with EFI, it's not fucking fun.
yeah. It,
Where carbureted bikes, it's pretty easy. Air, spark, battery,
yeah,
fuel,
yeah. We
done.
went through some issues with the fuel tech system, but the machinist here, he's super into cars, and we're getting him into the motorcycle thing, and he's drag race cars and done
Yeah.
that. So he's been good to work with on the tuning aspect of it because none of us here are, none of us would claim to be a tuner by any means, but with the basics, you can go through and, like I said, learning to read the AFRs or Lambda, whichever your system's running on, and
Yep.
um, that helps, and looking at exhaust gas temperature, and there's a lot of little things to look at that can give you an idea of where EFI bike is going wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it'd be nice to. I mean, you get what you have to for the carburetor bike to put the sniffer in the exhaust, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
don't quite get the same readings either, right? They're not
yeah,
as accurate, I guess you would say.
yeah. I would think my sniffer says that might be running a little rich, but we'll we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What is the jetting that you used on that one?
I just left it at what SNS sent it out as, so just the
Gotcha.
factory jetting, and then I'm gonna take my, they send some jet kits out with it. I'll take those to Florida, and um,
Play
if
with
I
it a
gotta
little
play with it, I gotta play with it. But
bit. Yeah.
it's pretty easy. I mean, if it's coughing or puking, it's doing something. So you
Yep.
add
Yep.
fuel, or if it's popping, you're gonna, you definitely need to add fuel if it's popping. So
Yeah, I have one of those for mine. I got one of those Electron carburetors, and I have never put it on, but I am interested to play with it. It's been sitting on the shelf for 3 years,
yeah,
But there's these. I mean, and realistically, the bike was built for my wife to ride, right? And those electron carburetors were said to be able to auto adjust to elevation. And
okay,
that's kind of was like, oh, that'd be
yeah,
cool if she was, riding up a mountain or something stupid. I don't fucking know, like
yeah.
just something to tinker with. But you got to do a little bit of hunting for little pieces to fit it up to the 111.
Yeah, I know a guy that's got a CNC machine.
Oh, oh,
You know, right? I know a guy.
yeah, right, right. So what's next on Scott's list?
Um, this bike's really I don't want to say it's consumed a lot of my time. I've been here at the shop 23 days straight trying to get it done
Yeah,
for
it's
Daytona.
consumed a little bit of your time.
Yeah, so the plan really is to finish, or I mean, I guess it's finished. We'll see what happens in Daytona. It's
Yeah,
I don't want to call it a new build, but it's a redone build, and I don't really expect issues the way my test ride went the other night, but get that done. The next on the list is really, so I do the AMR race schedule, and I'll go to Daytona, be down there for a week, and then come back, and I'll be home for a week and a half, and then I got to go to Louisiana for the first race of the year. So
wow.
yeah, so the Bert and I do quite a bit of racing, and we do a couple. We don't do just the AMR events. We'll do a couple others, but it's that takes up quite a bit of the summer. You
Yeah,
know, the bikes when you're going. We're talking low 8 second, 170 mile an hour plus bikes.
Jesus
They,
Christ.
yeah, they're kind of zippy, and
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, I I haven't done any racing on that class yet. Last year, I just ran Pro Eliminator, which is 1090 class. I ran that on a really heavy Rolling Thunder chassis Pro Street that we put a skinnier tire on it, and uh, that's got a 113 in it, I believe. And I would go out there. I was pretty consistent with it. Wasn't
And what
winning.
was your times?
The summer I started. So that the Pro Eliminator class is a 1090 class.
What does that
So
mean?
so that means 10.9 seconds in the quarter mile. You
Gotcha.
can't go you can't go any faster than that, or it's called a breakout. So you want to hit
Oh,
10.90
oh,
exactly. And so I started out the season pretty slow in like the 11.6s. I should have been in a different class, but I was determined to get that bike
yeah,
down there. And
yeah, yeah.
I finished the season down in the low 10.9s, and I
Wow.
had a great season on it. And the last race of the year, I ended up racing E class 2, which is where you would, so I was doing two classes that race. And E class, you just set a time, say, I'm going to do a 1096 or I'm going to
Yeah,
do a 1093. And that I kept going round after round, but the clutch was going in the bike. So
yeah.
I would have to add like 3/10 like every time, and I just finally I ended up red lighting to lose the race because I was tired and done, you know. And I actually, if I hadn't red lit, the other guy broke out of his time, and so I would have won
Oh,
another round. I'm not saying I would have won the event, but I would have won another round. I was done. I was like, the bike's failing. You know, it's a mind trap when you're trying to
yeah.
add time to whatever there is. You know, the engine was getting tired, the clutch was going. So
Yeah. I didn't know that that's kind of how those brackets worked, like where you have to stay within a time frame. Obviously, when you think drag racing, you just think you're supposed to go as fast as possible down the drag strip.
yeah,
So,
there's a few. So there's 1090. I think there's one faster. There's like 1150 maybe. There's a 1030, a 990. I believe. I'm not sure if they've got into the eights yet for that class, but like the super, they're the pro bags, not super, the pro bagger class. That's just go as fast as you can, and
gosh,
that's everybody's running turbos, methanol. They're either air shifted or electronically shifted. It's hold on and go, and
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
why a lot of these bikes are going so fast. There's guys that were in the sevens.
Wow. Now, how long have you been racing for?
Last year was my first
Was
official
your
year.
first year? Yeah. I think I
Yeah,
heard. I think you told me that before that you were doing that. That was your first year last year.
yeah. I've always done like test and tune, go take the
Yep.
bike, take it down the track. I just never got focused on the actual racing. And last year, and I didn't start till mid-season, but it was
Yeah.
good. I made some points and I had fun with it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a
cool.
great crowd there, good people to hang out with, and camp out all weekend and race motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Oh. Oh, bummer.
yeah, darn.
Yeah. It's a
So
terrible time right now.
yeah, it can get a little intense. We've had to
Oh
do some
yeah.
repairs in between rounds to make. That's my main focus is trying to make the fast bike go faster, and
Yeah.
that's that bike takes a lot of work, and it's not just bring it back to the pits and then send it down the track again. You're checking a lot of things over after each
Yeah.
pass. So,
Yeah. And you're by yourself doing it, right? I mean, or do you guys have a team?
yeah, the
Yeah.
team, Bert and I.
Yeah. So just you two. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a lot
yeah,
of work, man.
it
You know.
is. It is,
Yep.
but
I help
it's
these guys at the BRL team now, and it's
yeah,
it's not the same, but it's got similarities. Of course, all racing does, and
yeah,
it's a lot of work to keep these bikes on the road and on the track. Whatever that is. If it's
yeah,
a straight track or a road track, it's a lot of work in between races, man.
yeah. It's not just you know put fuel in it and send the guy down the track again.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's pretty wild. I just got involved in that towards the end of last year, so
Yeah,
I'm still learning things and whatnot. And I've only done one race with the team, but and one race and one practice. So we're getting ready to start the season right now, and we go practice. I think the first practice is like March 8th, and so we
yeah,
start practicing for next month, and then the Chuck Waller race in April is the first race. So It'll
yeah.
be
That'll be
it'll be
fun.
fun. Yeah, you guys don't. How come you guys haven't got involved in that side of things as far as the road racing?
Um,
Just two
you
in a
know,
drag racing.
not Bert's getting older. I'm getting older.
Yeah,
I mean, we would be the ones racing,
yeah, yeah,
and I had done a lot of track days on sport bikes. I know the consequences, and I've had some downs, and I've had
yeah.
downs on the drag strip too. But
Oh, I'm sure.
it seems to be a lot less, or it seems to be more forgiving on the drag strip. I mean, your
Yeah,
speeds are a lot faster some of the times, but I don't know. I could do it, but that's a big budget. It's a lot different than drag racing. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, because on your guys' drag bikes, are your rear ends rigid?
no, so
No,
they're
they do have.
yeah, extended swing arms. On the twin cam, we're doing mono shocks on both of them.
Gotcha,
Twin cam and the M8. Now,
gotcha.
the bike I raced last year, that 1090 class bike, that was rigid. Yep.
Yeah. And how
So
was that? How was that for your kidneys?
it, That's not bad. It's a
Yeah.
little. I would say, I don't know that trickier is the right term, but you have to really learn how to launch the bike.
Yep.
Really, without that suspension helps you huge because you can plant the rear end, and then when the suspension is unloading, it's actually driving you forward, and so
Yeah.
you're getting an extra push out of it with a suspension swing arm style bike. So without that, you run you kind of base it on your air pressure in the rear tire and go from there. And you don't want to spin. And fortunately, the bike that I raced was really hard to wheelie.
Yeah.
You could pretty much put the thing at 5,000 RPMs and pop the clutch, and would
Jesus.
it would it would spin before it would do a wheelie. And I mean, I ran 12 pounds of air pressure tire in the rear.
Wow.
So
Wow. That's wild, man. I still have never gone down the racetrack.
oh man, well,
Yeah.
not
I
this year,
hosted.
Sturgis, but next year.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I try to do every other year, but we'll see. Maybe I have to do 2 years in a row if you guys are gonna do the drag races next year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I've hosted a few drag races, and I never did it. I don't know. I guess I have some anxiety towards it, some nervousness towards it. You know.
Well, I'll give you an analogy that my old coworker James Seminelli gave me. And the first time I ever went to the track with him, he explained to me, releasing the clutch. Think about you went on you went out the night before and you drank a whole bunch and you ate a bunch of Taco Bell afterwards and you want to squeeze that fart out. You don't But you don't want to shark. Okay. That's so every time I go to the line, I say Taco Bell farts, Taco Bell farts. And then I let the clutch out appropriately so that you don't lose it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Don't shart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't want to mess those draws up.
yeah. Oh my lord, I've never heard that analogy, but I'm going to tell you, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You just think about that. It's a silly thing to think about, but
But
you
whatever
don't want to
helps.
you don't want to pop that clutch too fast and you still
Yeah,
want to let that fart out.
it's got to go. It's
It's
got to
got to
go.
go.
Oh no. Oh man. So what? How many bikes are you taking to Daytona? You got your FXR, and what else are you taking?
Just the lowrider S, the 21 lowrider S.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I thought
Yeah.
you were going to take the drag bike too, or is that was I am I
We
wrong?
were going to take the drag bike down and try and do some practices on the west side of the state over at Bradenton, but
Uh huh.
things just didn't line up for this year. So we
Gotcha.
might go down the week after Daytona and do some practice, but it's kind of up in the air. We might, maybe not Bradenton, but maybe somewhere else. So
Yeah. How long is the drive? How long is it the drive to Daytona for you?
it'll be 17, 18 hours.
Oh, it's not too bad.
It's not terrible. We break it up. We'll try to get south of Atlanta tomorrow and drive the rest on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday we're setting up at a Evo show. Not, I should know where it's at, but Michelle, my coworker, she does my scheduling, so
Yeah.
she tells me where I need to be, and so
Yeah.
it might be at the dealership, it might be at Teddy Morse's. Uh,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha. I have yet to ever go to Daytona. One year I will.
yeah, you West Coast kids never come out and play.
No, no. It's a long trek, man.
It is,
You know, it's just time, right? It's
yeah,
time. And so, right now it's just me here at the shop. So it's not, I don't have a week or 2 weeks or whatever to leave here.
yeah,
It doesn't work that way sometimes. So I've been trying to venture further out and further out, and doing some things further away from the shop. But it's, this year will be challenging being again, just me. So we kind of
yeah,
scaled back a little bit with the economy and everything. And I do
yeah,
everything here now. And, if I'm not here, it don't get done.
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's the unfortunate thing. So, but I think
yeah.
we're going to be at Four Corners Rally again this year.
Okay,
I'll be riding out to Sturgis this year, and of course, we'll do both Born Frees.
yeah.
You guys going to be coming to Born Free in California?
Born Free California for sure. On the fence with Texas.
Yeah,
I might do the hot bike tour, which I think
Yeah.
is actually out your way, but I think it coincides. They overlap with Born Free Texas, so I don't know yet. Definitely doing Born Free California because Midwest kids like to get out of the get
Yeah.
out to the west, get out to that left coast every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, we're fortunate, right? That's in our backyard, and it's one of the best shows in the fucking planet.
Yeah, it's great. You can turn the heat down a little bit, but other than that,
Yeah. Hey, the last 2 years, I'll tell you, ain't been bad. It's
I would agree.
I remember years and years ago, man. You could have possibly died at that place. I mean, they outsold all the water. You couldn't even get water anymore.
Yeah,
Everybody's trying
take
to
water,
quench
drink
their
beer.
thirst with either beer or they had lemonade still.
Yeah,
So it's either was die or die with lemonade.
or stop by Robbie Alloy Art Robbie's and have tequila.
Yeah, and that was before I knew him. So I'm probably lucky that I didn't know him then.
Yeah,
Well, all
yeah,
right, man. Well, shoot, you got a good drive tomorrow. I appreciate you coming on.
yeah. This was
Taking the
thanks
time.
for having-
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Keep us posted on how the things go with the bike, and let me know how that first long ride is.
definitely will.
Yeah, when you guys get out here for Born Free California, let's take some time and sit down and do a podcast.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, buddy. You and Michelle. I want to get you both on here.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Tell her I said hi. Give everybody a good wave for me at the Baker.
Will do.
All right, buddy. Drive safe.
Yep. See ya.
Bye, everybody.